Hi there, my name is John Birch. I work for the Purchase team in National Library of Scotland, and I'm currently the curator of a science fiction exhibition we put together. It's Life, Jimmy, but not as we know it. My dad was a science fiction fan. He was an early sort of Trekkie, as you were, but he loved Isaac Asimov and Arthur C. Clarke and that sort of thing, so I was subjected to things like 2001: A Space Odyssey when I was probably 9 or 10 or something like that. So I've always had an interest in science fiction movies, primarily I think. But over the years I have read quite a bit of science fiction. There is a sort of recognised sort of definition of science fiction. It's hard to include things that are wild flights of the imagination. For me, there's basically two modes of writing. There's a realistic and a fantastic. I think it was Ray Bradbury that said science fiction was a subset of fantasy, but science fiction plays by the rules of reality. It doesn't go off in wild flights of the imagination, not sort of true science fiction. Things don't happen because someone wishes them to happen. Things happen because of science and the rules that are laid down. So people speculate on nuclear warheads and you get post-apocalyptic landscapes. People speculate on space travel in the future and you get starships and space operas. People speculate on the advance of computing and you get artificial intelligence. It's the same if you speculate about say reading our DNA code. You get bioengineering in the future and all the can of worms that opens up. So at the most fundamental level, science fiction is about ideas, but taking them from a realistic point of view and taking them to a logical conclusion, even though it might seem fantastic. If you set it far enough in the future, it might become reality. It certainly started out, I think, as boys with their toys, and it was all about spaceships and ray guns and far futures, places you can adventure in. And it's very much a male aspect and very much a fan base of males reading it. But I think that's slowly changing. The books used to be purely about ideas and plot and characterisation would sometimes get nudged to the side, but certainly current science fiction, plot, character, ideas are all intermeshed, and there's female writers out there stealing science fiction ideas. The Time Traveller's Wife, for instance, that's you call it scientific romance. It's basically a love story, but it's all time travel and it's centered around characters and the plot. And I think there'll be more of that cross-pollination going on in the future, because science fiction is a bit more mainstream these days, and everyone knows basic themes and ideas behind science fiction. Science fiction writers are more interested in an international science fiction tradition that they're part of. It's not a narrower Scottish aspect, though there's a few people that do tackle it. Alistair Gray's a history maker, Sputnik Caledonia by Andrew Crummy, and Matthew Fitt's Butt and Ben a Go-Go are a bit more explicit in their connection with Scotland in the future, rather than defining Scotland as something that we've inherited from the past. Actually think about where we're going in the future. Collecting for the National Library is our number one priority. We don't know what the trends in the future will be. I currently think we're living through a golden age of science fiction with the likes of Ian Banks, Stephen Moffat, Gary Gibson, and we're going to co-opt Charlie Stross as well because he lives in Edinburgh. 20 years' time, I think there'll be university courses on these writers, and we should have the basics and we should collect all that they produce to enable people to be able to study them in a comfortable surroundings in the future, and that's what we're here to provide. Scottish writers out there, please donate your archive with us so people can have a look at it in the future. Yeah.